fruitful discussion and presentations. I think we should not really jump to a conclusion about whether PIL is good or bad, because I think there are, these are all circumstantial, because, and also regarding, the using Islamic jurisprudence. For example, under Ziaul Haq sent a reference to the Federal Sharia Court on whether the ILO conventions were in conformity with Islamic injunctions or not. So his idea was to scrap them, because they were all saying that industrialists were saying ILO conventions are a Western imposition on us, let's work according to Islam, meaning there should be no regulation. Go back to that owner and slave kind of relationship. But it's amazing if you look at the judgment of the Sharia court judge, Aftab Hussain. He actually expanded the purview of the ILO convention. He justified each and every convention, the fundamental one, and actually he made it look like as if Prophet Muhammad was the author of ILO conventions. And really, it's a very interesting thing. So it shut all these people who were against international conventions and covenants. So nobody can go to any other court now, and nobody went into appeal against that, because it is such a convincing document, and if you are interested, I'll send it to you. Secondly, the PIL has also helped us, go beyond borders. I mean, all our states are so jealous guarding their borders. So citizens acting beyond borders has also been made possible by some of the PIL. For example, we filed a case in the Supreme Court of Pakistan, Pakistan Fisher Forum and Pakistan Institute of Labour Education and Research, on behalf of 452 Indian fishermen in Pakistani jail. And we used one judgment from the Delhi High Court, which was relating to prisoners in general, and this was filed by Bhim Singh of the Kashmir Panther Party. Again, on behalf of some Pakistani prisoners who were in the jail in Kashmir and were not being released after having completed their sentence. And the Delhi High Court said, no, you cannot. You are violating the Constitution of India. You cannot keep a person in jail even for 1 day after he or she has completed his sentence. So they ordered the release. So we took this decision to the Supreme Court, and luckily the case went before Mr. Chaudhary, who is our Chief Justice. So he passed an order telling the government of Sindh, either you try these people, because there were many people who had not been tried but kept in jail for 1 year, 2 years, and the maximum sentence would have been 6 months for violation of Foreigners Act, Overt of Fisheries Act. So he passed an order saying, either you try them within 2 weeks or you release them, and those who have completed the sentence should be immediately released. So the Sindh government decided not to try them, because they had already kept them for 2 years and they were bloody scared of the Chief Justice. So we got these 452 released without any trial later, and they were released within 1 week. So that allowed us then to come to India. We came and we met with Sonia Gandhi and we asked her, look, we have brought 450 of Indians, you people didn't do anything about them, now can you get the Pakistani prisoner released? And she promised, she said, I'll get back to you people tomorrow. And this was like for 2 weeks before the Eid. And we said, if you release them before Eid, it will be a very goodwill gesture. And by the evening, our High Commissioner, who went to the iftar party given by the Prime Minister, and Indian Foreign Minister told him, we have decided to release these prisoners. So by tomorrow there will be an order. So it also gives you opportunities of acting. And then, they declared the number to be 25, and we said, sorry, we don't accept, we are not taking these 25, you can keep them. Increase the number at least to 100 or something. How can we go back to Pakistan if you are only releasing 25? So then they said, okay, come to our home ministry. And our dear friend, late Iqbal Haider, who was the lawyer in the Supreme Court, he went to the home ministry, sat there, they took out all the cases and we made it to 75 because there were various complications. Some state had not cleared them, but 75 people were released. So this was like happening between India and Pakistan, who are supposed to be their eternal enemies of each other. So if you can use this, and there is a scope for doing that, so I think we should not dismiss it, but we should, in addition to that, I think we should really look at what kind of human rights judgments have been there, and can we then develop a case for a uniform set of human rights on the statute as well as in practice. So we should, because from SARC we can demand a South Asian Charter on Human Rights. And that, I think, can be developed on the basis of these interpretations and reinterpretations by various courts, because those are binding. And since we have the same source of law, we use each other's judgments, to decide our cases. So there is a kind of a scope for drafting a SARC Human Rights Charter. So maybe all of you who are really practicing lawyers can think about it, and at the end of 5 days, if we can come up with a draft and send it off to the SARC Secretariat and heads of state, and then lobby on that. Because the other thing about PIL that we must keep in mind, it's not the final decision that we get. It is the process really. Because these cases become really high profile. So if I was filing a case on behalf of workers who have been dismissed, it will come in the press for one day and not again. But if it is a PIL and is being heard on a daily basis, so it helps you mobilize. Whether in the end the judgment was against you, but you've got, if you would spend maybe 50 lakh rupees, you will not get that kind of outreach for your issue, and that it gives you, and then it's up to you how you use it, to organize, to mobilize, to disseminate information. So I think if for nothing else, I will go to the Supreme Court and get my case registered and get a hearing, and I don't care what happens, because then I will use that opportunity to push my case at the public level as well as with the state machinery, because they have to listen to what is happening in the Supreme Court, and sometimes they start acting on their own even before the Supreme Court would come to some kind of a decision. So I think we should look at all these aspects and not to dismiss it. In countries like Pakistan and Nepal also, there will be a long struggle between institutions because they have to find their own places. Right now they don't. So it will take time. I mean, the army, obviously, in Pakistan, an army which owns the country is not going to retreat. I mean, we see in India the army wanting to own the country now. But an army which has ruled for almost 40 years, they are not going to easily let go. So there has to be this struggle, and I feel to some extent the Supreme Court in Pakistan, even when it doesn't act, it keeps saying, army or ISI or whatever is not above the constitution. Now that has some meaning for people who always thought these people are next to God. And then comes the constitution. So that changes people's way of thinking. Anyway, thank you very much, and I think